This place is amazing.
Don't stop now, come on, keep it up!
Thanks so much for inviting me here today. When we changed the name of our company back in October, the metaverse kind of became the it topic, and not just because of us. Yes, we pivoted our company to the work of building the metaverse, but Microsoft also bought Activision, a beer company, announced a Super Bowl ad playing in the metaverse. It's been in the air. But the funny part is most people don't agree on what it means. My sons are super excited because they saw the video that you just saw, and they're longing to play basketball with their cousins across the country as holograms. Now, I've had to explain to them that the tech isn't quite there yet. That kind of interaction is maybe a decade or so off. So what is the metaverse really? Well, first, we believe the metaverse will be the successor to the mobile internet. It's a set of virtual three-dimensional spaces where you can share immersive experiences with other people, even when you can't be together, and do things together you couldn't do in the physical world. We think about it as an embodied internet. Instead of looking at an internet, you're going to be in these experiences. But there'll be different levels of immersion. In the metaverse, some of those virtual spaces will connect to AR glasses, and some will connect to 2D spaces like Instagram. And then they'll connect to other places outside of what Meta builds. And this is the most important point. The metaverse is not just built by one company. We want it to be built by everyone. Now, the entire premise of the metaverse as we see it is that the experiences people will have will not be built by us alone. The metaverse is about co-creating. It'll be built by amateurs, creators, and other companies. And much of what those parties build will be interoperable with other things that people create. And that's a big difference from how things work today. Right now, if you think about the apps on your phone or websites you visit, they're little digital worlds. And the things you buy in those spaces don't travel. You might buy a custom skin for your gaming avatar, but that can't be taken with you, for example, when you move to a new space. In the physical world, that would kind of be like the equivalent of buying your favorite team's jersey and then never being able to wear it outside of the stadium. The vision for the metaverse is that we stitch these things together, that these currently separate digital spaces come together and bring continuity across them. So you'll be able to buy digital clothes for your avatar in one space and wear them out into the metaverse more broadly. Now, for creators, this can open up brand new ways to build a meaningful business. If you think about it today, people already spend billions of dollars every year on digital goods in video games. And we believe the metaverse market will be even greater. People in the metaverse will be able to buy apps and worlds to enjoy. And within those worlds, there will be things to buy, both digital and physical, as well as services and experiences. The metaverse, by nature of not being limited by physical space, will bring up a whole new level of creativity and open up new opportunities for the next generation of creators and businesses to pursue their passions, connect with customers, and create livelihoods. Let's take an example. Fashion designers are some of the most creative people out there, but the clothes they design and sell still have to be made from fabrics that exist in the real world and likely shipped to a store or a person's home. Remove that limitation and imagine what they can do. Designs can get a little funkier. Maybe they float, or they shimmer, or they change shape, or simply something that would be way too heavy to wear in the physical world, just impossible to actually even put on. Stores can get more practical. Imagine a digital store where people can try on digital versions of real outfits, see what they look like at the venue they're going to later, or how they change as the light changes, or even talk to a sales associate in real time. And the experience can get more personal. Imagine you're walking down a virtual street and you see a shop that only sells the things that you're into. Rock climbing gear, jazz records, sneakers, whatever it happens to be. And of course, people will be able to discover these experiences through ads. Without the physical limitations that exist today that put pressure on a business's bottom line, things like real estate, supply chain, geographical reach, the metaverse will open up more opportunities for businesses to make money. And if this is done right, the metaverse will spread economic opportunity and help grow significant sectors of the global economy. And there are positive environmental impacts too. As more digital environments are created in the metaverse, it will also help reduce the environmental cost of travel and transport. Now, look, as exciting as the business opportunities are, and I know my audience here, that's what we want to talk about. What's perhaps most exciting about this new technology is that it's just fun. Now, look, like I said earlier, the fully baked version of the metaverse is years, if not decades away. But some of the foundational pieces of it are already here today, and they're a lot of fun. They're a blast. A good example is virtual reality. It's a great illustration of what we have today because it's the best example of what it means to be embodied in the internet. Now, to be clear, the metaverse isn't only about VR, but VR is one of the more immersive ways you can experience it. You don a headset and via an app, you're transported to a place with a shared sense of space with other people. Maybe at a bowling alley or a concert or just in a space that you created with someone out of your collective imagination. And some of these things are happening now, today. We have a few ways to do this under our umbrella of Horizon apps. In VR today, we have a product called Horizon Workrooms. It's our collaboration space. When you need to discuss something or get in a shared meeting room with colleagues, you can really feel like you're there at a conference table with your coworkers. We actually use this now. Every week, my staff meets in workrooms, and it's brought us back to something pre-pandemic, before 2D video conferences have kind of robbed that sense of interaction, laughter, and a feeling of being in a space together. Just a few weeks ago, right after the holidays, we got together in a workroom to talk about what we were all up to over the holidays. I'm sure you've all been in a meeting like this, in a Zoom with maybe multiple windows that you're looking at. And there's this awkwardness where someone gives a story or an anecdote, and then they have to pass it off to the next person. It's always a little awkward. Are they going to call on the next person? Is someone just going to volunteer? But we had a really different experience when we were in workrooms when we did this, because I was able to tell my story, explain a bit about what we were up to over the holidays, and then I simply looked to my left. And that sense of being in the same physical space, that everyone knew where everyone else was sitting, meant that it was pretty obvious who was going to go next. And then we just went around the table, one by one. And no one thought much about it. It was a very natural human thing to do, but it was so different than just looking at a grid of faces on a screen. And it's this idea of being in a space together, probably not a replacement for being in a staff meeting in person, but certainly better than sitting at home and having to look at everyone on a small screen. So that's an example of some collaboration spaces. We have entertainment spaces as well. We have a product called Horizon Venues, which is a space for watching events together. We just announced today that the Foo Fighters will be playing a concert there after the Super Bowl, where people can watch the concert together as avatars and interact with one another. And finally, we have a product called Horizon Worlds, a place where creators can build VR experiences together. It just opened a few months ago, and we're already seeing people create really interesting things, from meditation spaces to laser tag to churches to virtual fire pits, where people can just sit and have a chat. And I think the most interesting thing here is about how easy it is to create something. This is a UGC platform. Think about 5 or 10 years ago, most of us didn't think we would all be videographers with a phone in our pocket. It required advanced tools to build really compelling content. Similarly, today, until today in VR, it's been about coding experiences, building directly on top of 3D engines. But with something like Horizon Worlds, simply using your hands and in a VR headset, you can build a world together, and you can build it with other people. It's actually incredibly powerful. You can have multiple people building a world together. Someone could be very large and can lay out the world, or someone could be really small and work on the little details like the leaves on a tree. And the idea of building something together with someone else at the same time, it's both social and about creativity. And this is just what's happening in VR today. It's not even the fully realized metaverse yet. The metaverse is when these experiences connect to other experiences and to the world more broadly in seamless, interoperable ways. It's not quite hologram basketball yet, but I'm excited about the work we're doing together to get to the way there. Now, as we work on it, we're going to make sure we're doing this responsibly, following our innovation principles that we announced last year. We want to put people first and provide them with the controls that matter. Think about things like muting and blocking others. Some of these tools I know we wish we could have in the physical world. We're also going to try to set new norms, and this is really important. Just last week, we launched something called Personal Boundary for Horizon Worlds and for Horizon Venues. And personal boundaries prevents avatars from coming within a set distance of each other. By default, it makes it feel like there's an almost 4-foot distance between your avatar and others, giving everyone lots of personal space. And as these experiences are being built out as they're early, it's important to set these defaults and to establish these norms. But that's just one way we try to consider everyone. Another is you can see in some of our recent avatars work, we have things like cochlear implants now. And we see some really great feedback about how it's made people feel like this gives people a visual cue that they might be hard of hearing and makes it feel more inclusive. We don't want to surprise anyone, which is why we're also thankful for opportunities like this, where we can talk about what we're up to. Of course, we'll collaborate with industry partners, with civil rights groups, with governments, nonprofits, and academic institutions to determine how to build these technologies responsibly. Now, that was a lot of information, but none of it will do the actual experience justice. You've got to just get in there for yourself. And the best way to get started in the work of building the metaverse is simply to start, to try these new experiences. Grab a Quest 2. I've got one on the table here behind me. I get it. It's a product that we build, but it is one of the easiest ways to get into these experiences today. And download one of the apps that I talked about. You can visit a world in Horizon Worlds. You can have a meeting in Workrooms. And I promise I won't tell anyone if you spend some time playing a little Beat Saber too. Now, outside of VR, everything you're doing now across our apps will benefit you in this metaverse future. You can build new commerce channels via Facebook Shop and Instagram Shops, or by creating a filter with Spark AR. You can try building augmented reality ads that help customers get a sense for your products from their home. And there'll be opportunities for plenty of partnerships. For example, we recently partnered with the NFL on digital goods in the form of a Super Bowl jersey. Building the metaverse is the work of everyone. I look forward to working with all of you to bring this promising vision to life. Thank you very much.
Vishal.